All right. Well, I guess here it is. I guess here we go. Starting off my live stream. Um, yeah, so welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is Mr. Sepulveda. Welcome to my channel. I've been working on some Ben 10 Alien Fusions recently, and so I wanted to go ahead and kind of continue that. In my last story, I ended up with developing a character that was based on the fusion between Swampfire and Lodestar that I ended up calling Swampstar. So here, right in front of us, is my design that I came up with. I've been working a little bit more with trying to make more dynamic poses. I'm thinking it's not 100% done. I just wanted to get kind of the drawing and the layout done before this stream began, but I'm still thinking about adding some like floating rock elements and textures and things like that that'll just kind of float around in the back areas around this fist, just to kind of even it out. And what's going to happen over here is I'm going to have some fire and possibly a trail of fire that kind of brings our view to this back leg over here, because he's kind of leaping. So that's kind of where I want to be. Okay, along with this, so hopefully that's pretty cool. Hey, Galahound, hopefully you're doing good. I'm doing great, buddy. It's a wonderful Saturday afternoon over here, minus the fact that it might be a little drizzly, a little rainy, but welcome in, dude. This is my Swamp Star, so I'm ready to kind of just jump in. I don't really have the colors 100% chosen out. But I'm thinking somewhere around this area, I'm thinking I'm going to try to keep yellow, so this could be part of the main suit. And I'm thinking anywhere that's kind of here, this could be more plant-based area, so I might keep it into those green tones. Little question, what made you want to become a YouTuber artist in the first place? You didn't just wake up one morning with the idea right there in your head. The answer is absolutely not. So I'm a teacher. Back then I was teaching elementary, and so or I was teaching middle school back then. I'm teaching elementary now, but I used to do like a drawing club, and so we used to draw, and then COVID hit. And then once COVID hit, I had no way of really reaching my students that I used to draw with. And so they just told me just to go try out YouTube. And so I've been doing this for maybe 3 years, but only taking it more seriously in the last couple of years or so. But I've been having fun with this. It's been pretty good. Get to meet some pretty cool, interesting people, which I think is great. We're building like an artist community where we get to pretty much support each other, see what everyone's doing. Definitely love it. Definitely love the ideas that you've supplied to me, and definitely some of the other channels that I've watched. I've seen a lot of your artwork show up and a lot of your suggestions show up, which I think is really cool. And if you haven't checked out Galahound 19's channel, guys, definitely check that out as well. It's got some great ideas out there. Cool card mashups, which are still some of my favorites. I think those are pretty good. Where do I get my inspiration? I'm a big anime fan, but my truest love comes from superheroes and comic books. So that's where I kind of lean in with. But yeah, so that's where some of those ideas kind of come from, where they stem from. I teach science, so I try to put a bunch of things together. Like, so with my S-Verse Chronicles, I had that idea for a while, but it wasn't until I involved my students in their drawings that I was like, you know what, I could redraw their characters for this project and kind of use them, and this way we kind of build it up together. And we're almost up to that point where I'm actually going to be taking community redraws on this channel, but I have to get past my final part 3 of my Gods and Champions War. So that's where I got to get past for right now. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start trying to put in some colors. We'll kind of see what we think about some of the colors here. I'm going to start off with the yellow that's on Lodestar, and just try to create some sort of gradient for it. So I'm just going to, and I'm using Clip Studio Paint, by the way. Not sure what other softwares a lot of people use. I've seen Dempsey J with Procreate I've seen Popcross studios using Autodesk Sketchbook. So there's definitely no right or wrong for what to choose for like your art medium. But I've been comfortable with Clip Studio, so I think this one's been pretty good. What inspires you, Galahound? Because you have all these crazy, cool ideas. I'm actually really curious. So what inspires you to draw? What got you into art in the first place? Let's see. Trying to just take some tones over here that are a little bit different. Still within the same spectrum. And we'll see what we feel about this. Did realize I didn't close that all the way. So we got to close those gaps. And then I like to stretch out the pixels just in case, just to make sure I'm getting the full lowdown. Let's see. Thinking maybe a little bit closer this way. If I thin it out enough, I get some of these shadows where I want them. And then you'll have to let me know. I don't know if the music's too loud or if it's just right. Not entirely sure. What would be my first prompt? That one I'm kind of holding close to the vest at the moment. I do have an idea, but it would, again, I'd have to wait till the end of the Gods and Champions War Part 3 so that you can kind of see where it's going. I'm thinking the foot's also going to be part of the same color, so I'm going to kind of go back to it. I think there'll be a lot of light in this area, but it might be alright just to kind of put some there. I can always put shadows over top. Let's see. Make sure I'm closing off most of these areas. I'm kind of liking the yellow. It's kind of alright. Let's see. Usually when I'm picking colors, I'm always like trying to toy around with it and try to figure out if I'm really liking it or if I'm not liking it. And then I try to decide, is there anything that I'm trying to, if I have to like manipulate and move over something. So like if I want more of that darker tone, I'll have to shift over a little bit. But I think it's okay. I don't think it's that bad. If I make that left side darker, kind of like what I just did, what I think will happen, or what I'm hoping will happen, is that when I put the fire over here and I light it up, I can make this side a little bit brighter with some of those reds. I think that'll be kind of fun. I think it'll be kind of cool. But I'm liking this character. I think line work wise, I really like the style where it's a little bit more poppy. And I usually try to pop things out with the like the heavy bold exterior outlines. And I think it kind of turns out all right. I don't know what color I'd want his, I don't know, like, I could always keep, like, the generic silver tone. His head's supposed to be metallic anyways. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do there, what I want to make changes with. I actually had a different head in mind earlier that looks like this, where I was putting some leaves on top of him, but it's not too bad. But gonna mess around with that a little bit more. Let's see, what do you got? Random question I like to throw around. Let's see, you have to assemble the anime Avengers, and I have to choose 6 characters. Who am I gonna choose? Oh, that's kind of rough. Okay, let's see. I guess I would, first off, my favorite anime of all time, I've been watching it for 20 straight years, still going, One Piece. So I'm gonna have to add a character from there. And I think with where Luffy is right now, I think I'd have no choice but to choose him. So let's say Monkey D. Luffy. Let's see. Who would my other characters be? I guess you can't go wrong with Goku, right? It's one of the first animes I ever watched. So I at least have power and will on that side. But if I need some brains, I guess I'm gonna have to like really think that one through. Let's see, brains. Could always add a Dr. Stone, but I don't know if that would be the right character choice. Dr. Stone. I'll have to think about that one. And just because I don't want to blow off the question, I plan on keeping this question. I'm gonna just add some things over here so I don't forget. Luffy. Luffy was definitely the first one. We'll go Goku. Those are two. Anime Avengers. This is a trick one. This one's a hard one to kind of really think of. That's a really great question, Galahound. I want to be sitting here thinking about this for a minute. Let's see. I'm going to pull some greens off this guy. And then I think I'll go a little bit lower to the left. Let's see. Do I want Dr. Stone? That's where my thoughts are right now. I'm trying to think. Smart guy. Someone that'll be like a Tony Stark. Who in the world would be a Tony Stark in my anime world? You know what? I think what would be kind of cool if I add in like a Mega Man or something like that. I think that would be pretty dope. And I know maybe more game than than anime, but it would be a fun one to kind of just have on the team. Let's see. I'm not sure if these colors are going together. I definitely like the green. I'm not keen on this yellow, though. I don't know how I'm feeling about it. Maybe we just gotta use the lose the yellow. That's what I'm thinking. And I guess I do have a question then, because if I choose a character that only has abilities in a like in a game world, does that character still have those same abilities? That would be my question, I guess. Because then you start thinking about characters from like Log Horizon or Sword Art Online, Rising Shield Hero, things like that. Might have to think about those. Let's see. No, this is gonna be brighter, but I'll put the shadow lower. There we go. Yeah, I'm liking the tone for the arm. But I don't know how I feel about suit color. I'm gonna need a suit color. Whether it's gonna be like a kind of like a because the yellow was the idea that I had, but maybe we gotta stick more earthy, rocky tones. Let's see what we can do. And I would hate to just leave it flat. I think moving my rendering style to making it a little bit more with the gradients kind of helped out my art a little bit. Well, we don't have to make it black, but I think this could work. Because Lodestar's mostly got like the black clothing on him, so I'm wondering if that'll be part of it. Let's see. Kind of okay with that. Yeah, okay, so you're a Fairy Tail fan in there. I love Urza. I can dig that. Yeah. Naruto's a great one. Although, I think, well, I don't really watch Boruto as closely, but from what I understand, he lost Kurama. So I don't know how strong he'd be at the moment, but I guess if you chose whichever version of Naruto, I would totally get it. And then, okay, so you also go classic with, like, the Brotherhood over here, right? So Elric, so we got some alchemy on your side. I dig that. I dig that a lot. Yeah, I'm still trying to give this one a think. I'm trying to think about it. I'm only going to keep the two. I'm going to try not to steal any of your guys, but no, you got some good ones. Because if you get Deku and I can get All Might with the All Might abilities, I think I'd be fine. But Deku with his newfound abilities is so much better, I think. But yeah, that's a really good one. And I've always liked Grey Fullbuster in there, so he'd be a cool one. Let's see. Yeah, I can make the leaves leafy colors. I think we can dig that. Let's see. These are mostly red. Dun dun dun. Hey, if I choose someone like Seto Kaiba, could I have his Blue Eyes White Dragon legitimately be real? That's what I want to know. Because I would choose him right now. Let's see. Do I want the red plants? I put them in there because Swampfire has them in that original design. But now I'm trying to think about it. I mean, it does add an extra color, which wouldn't be terrible. Because I think it looks okay, right? Just kind of popping out, weeding out. And he does have a floating head. I think the floating head's kind of cool. Let's see. Anime Avengers. Still on it. I promise. I'm still on it. Still thinking about it. I was trying to remember if Goku becomes a angel and a kind of like I think his name was Whis. Can't remember in the manga. Trying to remember it. Why not make this suit color yellow or gold? Yeah, and that was the original thought, was to go a little bit more on the yellow route, but it was too bright, I think. Gold doesn't sound bad. Gold I can do. So let's test that out. Let's test that out. And I think I would have set up something close to it. Like I could do like this, I think was as close to my gold as possible. Something like that. Wouldn't be flashy until I add the lights, but that might also be a little too close. I don't know. It's looking okay-ish. Let's see. Yeah, because that would be the gold. I think the gold could work. Yeah, I think that was a good suggestion. Yeah, because I was doing yellow before, but it was a little too bright. This one dulls it down, and it doesn't take away from the green, I don't think. So I think that's pretty cool. Good suggestion. I'm thinking this arm will be a little bit more, because in the story, his arms or his limbs or whatever, supposedly all plant-like, but I'm okay with changing it up over here. I might try to make it a little bit more metallic-y, a little bit more silver-esque when I get to it. Let's see. If I make it this off color, I can make it more silver later. But I'm going to keep that flat color there. And then I'll kind of leave the head slightly flat too. And then I'll open it up with the texture when I texture it a little bit. But let's do the main head, kind of that cyborgish silver color. And I don't know why, I'm looking at the Swampfire in the top left corner, and he's got a little bit of yellow. So maybe that gold comes back over here. That might be a little fun. That might be fun right there. Let's see. Why not have a few robot corpses like your fusion guy? Oh man, the Time Wizard? Yeah, no. I don't want some corpses of that all over the place. That one took a good while. I think that one took me 5 hours to make that Time Wizard, if that's who we're talking about. To have some of like his robotic corpse pieces around. I definitely want him to be like jumping up. And then again, I mentioned it earlier, but I am thinking about putting in just rocks or whatever, like floating pieces over here, and then some fire trailing down on that side. But I figure I'll get the character done first, because I know I've got right now about an hour and a half or so. So I'm going to do that and then kind of move it from there, see if I have time. So if I can get the rendering done, I'll add in some of the background elements as well. Those will definitely be on here. And I think the gold on the mouth is not bad. I don't think it's that bad. And then we'll go Ben 10 green, right? Or whatever Ben 10 green might look like here. Because I can have his eyes glowing, so if I leave it like that, I can make him glow and pop out a little bit more. Oh, from the first season of Ben 10? I'd have to look up a reference. Doesn't sound terrible. But I could definitely have some destructive pieces, and I think that's one of the things I'm going to have to get better at, is backgrounds. I'm trying to get more comfortable with background elements. That's what I know I've got to work on. I'm not as confident. I can do different elements separately, like do rocks, do grass, draw a tree, but somehow when it comes time to try to put it all together compositionally sometimes is where I struggle. It might take me a little minute. I mean, I eventually get it, but it does take me a good minute. Let's see. Gonna have to zoom in here. And then I think just something a little bit darker. Just gonna zoom in. I do a lot of zooming. Hopefully it doesn't bother you guys. Let's see, and I think because that's gold, I think I might as well turn the exterior piece of the Omnitrix gold. I can go dark or I can go white. I think I'll go white. I think the flats are pretty good right now. Yeah, I just read your comment about that. Yes, yeah, not the only one. Yes, I definitely remember. It does sound interesting. There's episodes out there, and not just in Ben 10, obviously, um, where stuff like that happens, and the writers just don't think about it. I was just binge watching Avatar: The Last Airbender because I watched the live series. Happy to see that there's going to be a renewal for 2 and 3. But in one of the episodes, Aang gets gifted a new glider, and at some point he ends up dropping it into some fire and it burns. But then eventually he ends up having it again. So I was just trying to figure that out. Like they're not going to explain how he got this glider 2.0 or like his second new glider after he had already destroyed the new one. So it's one of those things. But yeah, there's a lot of things that have continuity issues. Alright, so right now I'm just going to set up a palette for myself. I know I'm going to need some bright red for the fire, for whenever I do the highlights for that. I'm going to... I generally go blue for my first shadow layer, and then a purple for a second shadow layer. And then I'm thinking for light source, I don't know, I might just keep it generic yellow. And then I always have like a white for some other element. But that's what I normally do on the side as I go in and I start putting together my stuff. That head hole, putting some fire through it. I think that'd be kind of cool. I know with the with Lodestar's head, I was looking at it. It's essentially just being propelled upward. Obviously magnetism. I thought about playing around with that as well, because when I put some little stones or whatever, some metallic stones floating off the right arm, I was gonna do some sort of like energy or pulse over there, and I was gonna kind of put it behind him. I was gonna try that, but if that doesn't work, the fire sounds perfect, because then I don't have to have like just the kind of like that black hole in the middle of the suit. I can kind of just have it like flying upwards off of it too. It might be something to play with. I'm gonna put that on the side, for sure. Let's see. Yeah, okay, I think I'm pretty satisfied for where it's at now, right? So I'm just gonna quickly save that so I don't lose it, just in case. And usually what I do after this, I normally try to figure out textures. So I'm gonna try to put in some texture over here. First thing I do is just shut off my color layer. And we're gonna mess around a little bit. So I'll grab all the plant bits, anything that was green. So this is green, this was green, and I'll even grab those other greens on the arms. And I just need to double check, just want to make sure. The interior sides are green, and that bottom foot should also be kind of green. I think I left the black there from before. I'm going to fix that in a second, but first let's get all the greens. And then I normally put in like a pattern or whatever. I've got like these little hatch marks, chunky noises, whatever. These things kind of help me out with just trying to put some sort of texture underneath. I do like this little splotch one though. The blending mode I always change up, and I'm never like satisfied with just a single one on here. Let's see. And I also realized that I didn't grab this part of the leg. Let's see. So let me do this real quick. We'll get rid of this selection. And then this way. There we go. Oops. Alright, so usually I put a texture in, and then I will essentially just remove, like make it a little bit more transparent and brush right over it so that it removes some of it. So this way it's not like very noticeable. I get to keep some of the stuff I threw in there without erasing every little bit, but it gives me enough contrast in here, I think. And then when I start blending on top of it with like the shadows and the lights, I think it makes a difference. Let's see. And then I got to figure out a blending mode. Usually I start off at multiply, but multiply always makes things like way too dark. If I descreen it, lightens up way too much. So I got to try to find something in here where I feel like it'll work out nicely. If I subtract, it kind of gives it that feel like it's part of the same, that actual color that's underneath it. So I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm going to keep it like this. I think this one looks good. And now the real quick thing, because I realized just moments ago that my colors kind of started bleeding through when I wasn't paying attention earlier. So I'm going to do that. Make sure this thing's coloring in. And then I need a darker green for down here. Is that darker? Yeah, that's darker. And then I can put that back on. And it's looking pretty good. I think it's looking alright. Alright. So let's see what we can do here. So that's texture for that. I need texture for the actual metal head and maybe that metal arm. And then for the clothing, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to shut that off again. Start grabbing for the clothing. Luckily there's not a lot of clothing. And then I think for this I'll go more of like a hatch marky type of color. I'm gonna try to keep this one somewhat close. Let's see. Yeah, maybe I need something that shows. This one kind of shows, but I might need something a little bit darker so it shows. There we go. Maybe that orangish color. It gives it enough of a hint that there's texture there, and then I'll just do the same thing, just make it a little bit transparent, remove some. But if that doesn't work, we could just always quickly change up the colors that are there. So that blue doesn't work at all. Oh, I see what I did. Yeah, don't want to do what I just did. I ended up drawing on the wrong layer. Alright, try that again. Maybe that's why I wasn't looking right. Okay. So that orange I had before turns green. Right? Okay. Yellow becomes a blue, usually near opposites. Okay. If I go purple, that's my green. Red's a green. Green should be around a reddish color. And this one right there. Found the color. Let's try that again. Start cleaning that up a little bit. Because again, I just need a little texture so that when we start blending on it, it's going to make it pop out a little bit more. I realized I didn't give texture to the little red plant dudes. So let's go ahead and give these little red plants a little texture. But I'm going to go with these guys. Hey, no worries, bud. You have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. Absolutely. And I'll try to make sure I get in my my anime list before the end of this. And try not to take any of your characters, but you named a lot of really convincing characters. Alright, so we've got texture on just about everything, minus the metal parts. So let's go ahead and... I think this is more of a tuning fork than anything else, I think, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and color this guy up. And I'll include the... actually, I'll include everything. This whole thing is metal. There we go. We'll stretch that out a little bit. Let's see, what kind of patterns do we need here? I kind of like the ink blots. Tally marks are okay-ish. I think it's an ink blot or something like that. Maybe it's these blot clouds I used to use a lot for metal, or what I used on the Metal Samurai. I used something that was more square-ish. Trying to remember which one that was. It might be the sponge. If I change the particle size. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna just dot it around a little bit. And then, of course, we shall clean up some of it. And put it back on. So I do a lot of like push and pull with the transparency tool in Clip Studio. There we go. I am okay with that. And I think I'm pretty good. Once the texture's done, I end up just going straight into like shading and things like that. So we'll see. Alright, so now that I'm on my multiply layer for my first shadows, anywhere I think there's shadows or going to be a presence of shadows is normally where I end up putting these in. So I'm going to start there. And I know the flame's going to add in an element of light. So some of the shadow should probably move in this direction. But, you know, it just kind of depends on like my feel for it sometimes when I decide to add in another shadow. But because I always like to add shadows to the eyes. So I'm going to keep doing that. It's part of my style. A lot of people do it. And I do break my own rules a lot depending on what I'm doing. So I think that's kind of alright. And usually when I'm done with that, I usually just go into grab my blur tool. And then I start softening up the edges for these shadows. Or my first shadow layer. I used to do a lot more cell shading, but then I realized when I started blurring these out, I don't know, I just felt like my art just kind of took another step in the right direction, took another level. So it's kind of what made me start doing it this way. Do that. And I'm going to go second level shadows. And I like to use the lasso tool a lot to fill in a lot of the spaces for this. For a lot of it. And then at certain points, in certain areas, I actually don't use the lasso tool, I'll use my airbrush tool. So I'll kind of show you where that is, I guess, or when it's going to show up. Because it'll happen in the face in a second. Just going to go ahead and blur this out. Yeah, and then so I'll just kind of grab that airbrush, and it's a soft airbrush, and I'll start kind of putting in some of it over here. And then I'll grab that blur tool still, always grabbing that blur tool, and then I'll start kind of blending those out, or blurring it up rather, because sometimes I will take a blur and I will blend it. Other times I'll use a smudge tool or a fingertip tool, and I'll start moving them around. So I do definitely do that as well. Okay, I'm going to jump into my first light source. This one I'm definitely going to airbrush for sure. I'm going to start off over here on this edge. And then I realized I didn't do the, I don't know why I didn't realize it before. I didn't do the shadows and the that golden metal rod on his forehead. So I gotta make sure I do that before I leave this area. Just blurring it out. The blur for this just kind of spreads it, which I think is pretty cool. So I'm just gonna leave it like that because it kind of presents itself nicely. And what I'd like to do is I'll end up putting, and you've probably seen this in a few of my videos, but I'll end up putting in some dots and just some spots. And the dots just adds like another bit of textural effect. So I'm just gonna kind of do that. There we go. I'll go back to that first level shade, and because it's a small area, I'm just gonna go ahead and just use my airbrush tool. But of course, we'll still be blurring it. I keep saying smudge, but we're gonna be blurring it. Grab that purple, same deal. I think the purple gives a nice contrast with the blue, which is why it's always usually my favorite combination. Although I do mess around with sometimes just choosing warmer tones like a reddish orange or so on occasion. So again, sometimes I break my own rules, which is all right. So I'm just gonna go ahead, put in this light right over here. Let's see, put in some dots, blur it. Then I'm going to put just a few more dots. And then lightly blur it so that the dots still kind of stay, they're just not as bright. I think it's looking good. So sometimes I keep an extra highlight layer that's usually white. Sometimes I will use it to be like a soft light. It'll kind of give, at least in this case, I can use it to kind of make this eye kind of appear to be almost like glasses in a sense. Just gives it that nice little soft touch. But it's just trying to find how thick I want this to be, or how prominent. Because I can make those the eyes for this character. I would still blur them, like around versus in the middle. And it kind of gives it a nice little look to it. And I can also do the same thing over here. Just put a little bit in there. It's not super noticeable, but then it just adds that much of a little bit of a detail that I feel like makes the difference. Put some in here, same deal. And then the last one, right? So this one I definitely do need a third level. And if you notice on the sides, I'm turning them into clipping masks so that they can stay in their areas. I'll put this as highlight 3 or HL3. This one is definitely going to be a glow of sorts. Just going to put them closer to the edge. Put in some dots. Put in some reds on these sides. I'm thinking do I want it on that eyeball or not? That's where I'm kind of stuck on. Do I want it to fill up that whole eye, or do I want it to be part of the eye? We'll find out. Let's try part of the eye, and then we'll kind of play it off and see what it looks like. There we go. Yeah, I think some of that red kind of does it really well. I'm gonna try to do it again over here. But I'm gonna blur it out a little bit more, just because of the side that it's on. But I'm thinking that head's looking good. So even if I don't go with the fire, like what Gallhound suggested with the head on fire, I think it came out really good. I'm actually really satisfied with that. So we'll go ahead. We'll move to this arm. I'm thinking, you know what? Let's move to the left arm. We'll move to the left arm. And we'll just kind of keep the rendering going on from there. And do that. There we go. Yeah, I think this is going to be good. I'm excited about this one. Grab that blur. Just to soften up these edges. Go to the purple. You can kind of see how the purple's like making it extra dark, which is good. It's what I want, which is also another reason why I use these two together in tandem. I always start off with blue and then make my way to purple. And then when I start to blur it out, I don't know, you get to see like a nice like indigo-ish type of tone. At least on like the lighter colors, of course. Make those dark. Gonna just brush that in there. And then we'll go to light it up with a little bit of this yellow. We'll blur out the light. And then it pulls out that texture. Again, it's definitely something that I liked or like doing now that I've, you know, kind of moved my rendering style around from like just basic cell shading. Hey, what's going on, Pickle? How's it going? Hopefully you're having a good Saturday. Ben 10 used to be your favorite show? Oh man, absolutely. One of the best. One of my favorites. Definitely. I actually started trying to rewatch some of it with like, because I know I've missed a lot. There's like this other Omniverse thing where he has a plumber buddy when Kevin and Gwen leave. So that one I never saw. So I think that's kind of cool. So that one I've been starting to like binge on my own. But right here I've got Swampfire and Lodestar being fused together. I think it's turning out all right. I don't know. Said that one's cool, like that series. Okay, cool. Because I've got a few episodes in. I'm enjoying it. I'm hoping it kind of stays pretty good the whole way through. Let's see. I don't think I need the white light for this one. So I'm going to kind of back that off a little bit. I'll keep it on just this arm. And then I think at least from here, depending on how I put the flames, I think we should be able to see just a little bit of that fire, or at least that aura from the fire kind of show up. So I'll just kind of keep it there on the edge, but I think that'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Well, let's see, Pickle, real quick for you. I was asked by Galahound19. He was in here a little while ago. Asked me if I can make an anime Avengers crew. Who would I have? I put Monkey D. Luffy on mine and Goku. But I need some other suggestions for my team. Who else should I have? Just out of curiosity. Just whoever you can think of. I was trying not to take ideas from him, but he had a lot of good ideas in the chat. So let's see what we can come up with. It's a really hard question, I think. There's too many choices out there. See, adding some shadows back here. Because I've never really thought about my lineup. I was thinking Dr. Stone, if I need a scientist person. And I mean, technically, Mega Man was a anime at some point, so maybe I could Use him. Saitama, of course. Obvious. One Punch Man. Why didn't I think about that one? You know what? Let's add him to the list. Because I think I added him right here. There's the list, right? So, Saitama. Duh. Let's go One Punch. It's a good pick. Good pick. Added him right into that list. Make sure I'm on the right layer next time I blur. There we go. And then I'll just kind of soften up a shadow for these two thorny dudes. I don't know what they are. They come off of Swampfire. I have no idea. Let's see. Art on a Saturday. Let's go. Like, do I add, like, Gojo? Oh, and look, as soon as I said it, there you go. I was actually thinking Gojo. I'm like, do I add a Jujutsu Kaisen character like Gojo on my list? And there you go. I think because we both kind of came up with that one. That's the one. That's the one. Now I'm definitely going to need two more at some point. We'll get there. Two other people. But yeah, I don't know. I could either go with like Black Star. I could go with who else would I want on my list? Because I might think like Soul Eater. Soul Eater would be a fun one to kind of drop in there. Hey QWERTY, how you doing? Welcome to a Saturday stream. Welcome to an art stream. Hopefully you're doing well. And QWERTY, I'm not sure if you're 1000% an anime fan at all, but Galahound19 was in here, asked me to come up with a team of 6 anime Avengers, like grab anime characters. I know who you are, QWERTY. I know who you are. So I came up with Luffy and Goku for sure. Naruto's on my list maybe somewhere, but I know Galahound chose him. Saitama was definitely a pick by Pickle, and Gojo is definitely a team effort. Do you have any suggestions to finish off our anime Avengers list? Just out of curiosity. And hopefully, you're doing something exciting, something fun on a Saturday. Let me know. I know a lot of us are on spring break right now. So if you did anything great, exciting, amazing, hey, let us know. Let's see, I'll add a little bit of light, not too much light. Blur some of that off. There we go. And I don't think I'll get too much of that fire on that side. And that's what I'm going to use all this area over here in this little red ball for. I'm about to make my way there and try to figure out what's going to happen to the flame. From Tokyo Ghoul, is it Kaneki? Oh, Kaneki would be so cool. Definitely know his name. I can't tell you if I know how to spell it. Kaneki. Maybe. Well, if you get the spelling, let me know, because my spelling's horrible. I don't teach ELA. It's all good. Let's see. That's awesome. Kaneki would be a fun one to have. I never made it too far. I made it far enough. Wait, that's it? Awesome. Cool. I didn't make it too far. My wife definitely had. She's a big Tokyo Ghoul fan. Let's see. With this flame, what shall we do? Do I like move it like that? Like, what am I going to do with this flame? I know it's going to be some sort of fireball. Oh, the loach? Yes. Okay, see, I was thinking about brains. I had no idea who I could have picked. But yeah, Code Geass is cool. It was funny because in my mind I was thinking Dr. Stone for the brains. But that one's a cool one, Code Geass. Haven't seen that one forever. And now it's making me think about some older ones. Oh man, what's my dude's name? Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna have to look this up. It's from Gurren Lagann. Forgot his name. Ah, you have the manga? Yeah, manga's great. Love the manga. I'll read. K-A-N-E-K-I. K-A-N-E-K-I. Hey, we got it. Done deal. We got the spelling, folks. Boom. What was my dude's name? He ends up dying in the series, but really enjoyed him. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with this fire, guys. I might have to do the fire after I do everything else underneath that arm. I'll think about it at the same time. Let's see, I know he's got fire here, and the fire's gonna do something. Fire's gonna burn, I guess. But we'll see what happens here. I probably should have made it its own separate layer 100% like I originally intended, but I didn't. So we'll mess around with it after. I might have to draw over some of the stuff. Let's do this arm. These things appear to look like gills, but they're not. I promise. They are not gills. They're on a plant. So we'll kind of see what it looks like. So you put in a little bit here. Well, I don't think there'll be a shadow there, but I think maybe right about there. Yeah, I could put the shadow down here on the arm. Yeah, hopefully life's treating y'all really well. I've been feeling pretty good. Can't complain. Start blurring this dude up. There we go. I think he's coming to life. I think he really is. Let's see, I haven't done much. How you been dog sitting? Aw, yes. I love dogs. Love them. My Apollo, I think he left me a while ago. Nope, he's sleeping on the couch behind me. He's definitely sleeping. But yeah, no, it's funny because they sleep all day. Most of the time. They want like their little moments of cuddling, right? And then they sleep all day. Little babies. Let's see. Come back in this, or come back into the second level of shadows, or this purple shadow, with another blur. There we go. Piles of fire name. Italy? Oh man, that is so dope. So dope. I would love to go to Italy. Italia. Promise you won't put ketchup on things, dude. Don't put ketchup on anything. They might kick you out. Now the big question is, Pickle, what is, I guess, what's your favorite Italian food that you've had in Italy, or one of your favorite places in Italy right now that you visited? You're Italian, you haven't even been. Hey, no worries. I'm Puerto Rican, haven't been to Puerto Rico. It's all good. That is funny. Let's see what happens. I want to know the answer. Best Italian food that you had in Italy. What was it? Or favorite place that you visited in Italy on this trip? Like, I really want to know. And if you don't have an answer, that's completely okay. I get it. Let's see here. Add some little dotty dots. I'll add some in the plant. Pizza. Alright. I'll take it. Pizza, not pasta. Interessante. I like it. Alright, I know I'm gonna need some red over here. I don't know exactly where the fire is going to be, other than my hope is that it's going to be on this end. So, I want to put it right there. And then I'll blur it. Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. So, pizza. Toppings on it? Is there any toppings? Oh, this song, why do you hate it? Is it the cussing? I could totally get rid of it if it's that, but the music is coming from YouTube if it helps. Here, I'll put down the group name. No, you like it, good. Okay, so this one's called Hustlin'. It's from Nefex, N-E-F-F-F-E-X? Can't see it. Hold on. My eyes are too unadjusted to this. Yeah, N-E-F-F-E-X. There we go. That's the group. I love their music. They got a lot of great things on here. Maybe not deemed appropriate for children, but that's why I'm not a 4Kids channel. I got a lot of their songs on here for streaming purposes, not just because I love to listen to them. Let's see. I'm thinking I'm going to have to go backwards a little bit here. I'll get rid of the color real fast. This was my flame layer, quote unquote flame layer. But I don't know how I feel about it. So let me put everything into that one layer. And I know there's a faster way to erase all this, but sometimes just using it as an actual eraser tool is kind of cool. There we go. Because I feel like I need the flame on a different layer. Let's see. Onions and sausage, nice. Not gonna lie, yeah, that's so good. Oh, that's pretty cool. I could talk food, I like food. Let's see. What do I do with this flame layer? Because I know when I put it in, if I put the color on top of it, you know what? If I put the color underneath it, Let's say I do it this way. Then this shouldn't mess around with the lines at all. Alright, we'll see what I do with this in a little bit. Because I know if I leave the layers where they are and I start putting shadows and stuff, the shadows will end up on the fire. And I want to save that for later. Or at least the way that I blend it, I'm going to change that up. So let's see. That first glow layer is what I need. There we go. You guys are brainstorming anime / manga? Oh, I love that. Love that, love that. Yo, I need to know. I need to know. Because I'm working on trying to figure out like a, kind of like a comic book for myself. Because I've always wanted to make them. And I've always had all these ideas since I was in like middle school and high school. So, yeah, I want to know. Give me a. I want to know about your stuff, kid. What you got? Because I know for me, like some of my comic book stuff, like I'm doing classes that I'm teaching on Outschool and whatnot. But I've got ones that I created back in high school that I'll be putting onto this channel, but not in the form of comics. Just in the form of like stories and art. But the stories elements are obviously from the comics that I've wanted to make. So those are all going to be showing up soon enough within the next, well, not the next year, the next few months, really. Sometime at the end of summer. No name for yours yet? Okay. Well, I'm hoping that you have fun with the creative process. I think the creative process has always been my favorite. Just coming up with the ideas and stuff. Get a little bit closer to this. One that fits. Yeah, those are hard. Those are hard. I mean, you got a lot to work with, right? So there's like what? You got Naruto that's named after the character itself, right? You got Bleach that has nothing to do with cleaning products, right? Oh man. Titles after the writing process. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That one makes a lot of sense. Although I will tell you, for me, sometimes having the title first, I feel like helps me center out the story a little bit, which is different for everybody. Everyone's writing process is a little different. Let's see. I think that'd be kind of cool. Gonna need to figure out where his stuff's gonna go, though. Really need it. Have you heard of Boundless? It's so good. Got it off a guy who wrote them in like 2022. at a Comic-Con. Only have two. I want the third one so badly. That sounds cool. That's pretty cool. I might have to check out Boundless. Let's see. So Pickle, it's about a world where everyone pretty much has magical energy, and there are these legendary weapons that this old wizard created, and they scattered across the land. Oh, that's pretty cool. Are they on a quest to try to find these relics, these legendary weapons? That's what I want to know. Let's see, I gotta shut this off. And then re-change that color, because I didn't realize I changed the color on that one. There we go. Sounds like a D&D setup for like a quest. So dope. Always wanted to play D&D. Or draw some like really cool, insane art pieces for it. I really don't know what I want to do with this fire. I knew it was going to be in his hand, but I didn't know anything else past that. Main character finds one of them and goes to school to train with his powers, and he finds friends to help, but the workings of the evil underworld people are trying to claim them for themselves. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. That would spread the world to chaos. Oh, so the main... Okay, that's pretty cool. Nice, nice, nice. On some of the rules. At least on my part. Let's see. I love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful. I don't know what I want to do with this fire. I don't know. It's more in depth, but I had to condense it. No, obviously. No, I'm sorry about the video freezing. Let's see. Let's see. Dun 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 dun. I don't know if it's something I could change on my side. Oh, the Gods of Champions War? Oh, that one is on Tuesday. It's part 2. I can't wait for part 2. Part 2 is going to be good. Yeah, that one I'm excited for. There's 5 art pieces on Tuesday's episode. Yeah, it's probably... Yeah, I think it's 5 on there. I'm only doing 2 student redraws in there. But... I get to do updated artwork for 2 of them get updated artwork, and one of the characters has been mentioned the whole time but never had artwork done. So I'm actually adding artwork for that one character. So yeah, I think it's going to be a long one, but it's going to be good. You loved how your character turned out. I'm so happy. That's awesome. Hopefully you're still happy with what's going on with your character afterwards. I know a lot of people are going to be upset, but there's a lot of stuff happening. Story's really interesting. Thank you. There's going to be a little twist and turn coming up in part 2. So I'm like really stoked about what's going to happen there. Because the goal is to open up my universe a little bit more. And I think it adds to more stories, and then I'm going to use that as a way to get community members on this channel to draw in some things that I can redraw and use in story episodes. So I'm excited about that. You're gonna die, aren't you? Hey, you'll have to wait for Tuesday. Is Drake getting redone? No, we actually talked about that one, I think, a while back on email. Drake is in the episode. He has a short part in part 2, has a bigger one in part 3, but we talked about his journey and then his redraw and his story changing a little bit. So we'll have to wait for after part 3. But it's going to happen. I've been invested with that character. So yeah, Drake is awesome. One of my favorites on the list. And part of it's just because of how organic the character feels and the time and energy that was used to create the character. So like I'm stoked. I know he's gonna be around for a bit. But Dr. Cord, there's gonna be something happening. I won't tell you. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see about that Dr. Cord. Yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do with that fire. I'm gonna just make sure that's the absolute last thing I do. My brain's just like hurting on it. So let's come back here. Let's just bring it back here. Something a little easier. Let's see. Let's put in my shadows. I just realized I made Dr. Cord so sensitive. I think I accidentally made her slightly... Oh, man. Oh, no. Hey, that's okay. If it helps you at all, or maybe it doesn't. Sometimes, whenever I choose the characters that my kiddos make, part of it is, one, how does it look? Like the readability, does it look cool? That's one. Two, you know, what's this background story? Because sometimes the background story inspires me. So there's like a whole multitude of things that I think about when I choose them to draw them. And then sometimes with other things, I just kind of let my writing just take over. So I don't always know what's going to happen to a character in advance, unless I've already got like a plan for them, because their abilities might be unique. So usually the more unique the ability, the longer they probably end up lasting, or more of a story I have for them. Wait, yeah. Yeah, I used Dr. Sophia Cord. Good character. Essentially Wolverine. Although I think we probably should have put somewhere in there about like more indestructible bones or something. Right now, I think with the writing that was there, Dr. Cord was moves stealthy like a ninja and stuff like that. So I think those things are kind of cool. I think they add to it. But I think it was just retractable bone claws was the ability, if I can remember. I end up keeping a file of all the characters that I use, and then go back to those. Because I know I'll end up cleaning up every so often and moving out the pictures. So yeah. But yeah, I love a good character. I love a good redraw. And I think I'm excited because we're going to be bringing it to everybody else. Going to bring it out to the community, let the community start drawing some stuff, and then I'll start redrawing and picking from their stuff too. It'll be a good one. And come back here. Forgot to blur these guys out. Let's blur those guys out. Second level shooting. Pulling this guy out. And then hit up some lights. Let's see. Zoom out a little bit so we can see him a little bit more clear. I think he's looking good. That hand, of course, I've still got to figure out that flame. It's going to bother me all day. Or at least until I get to it. I should have probably sketched out what I thought it was going to look like. I just knew I just wanted him holding it and maybe having the flames kind of trickling down towards his arm. I talked to Galahound earlier about some rocks kind of floating and being pulsed around that tuning fork. That's about it. You've been practicing digital art, but I just can't make my line straight like on paper. Got any tips? And shading's also something difficult. So it depends on what program you're using too. So like for Clip Studio, and most art programs do this. If you're drawing really slowly, let me do this on a different layer. Yeah, let me do this on a completely different layer, just in case. So like if you're drawing just a line, right? So if I'm making a line, this could be straight, right? If I'm making quick movements with my hand on the screen. If I were going really slow, and I zoom in on it, you can kind of see like the slower I go, the less straight it is, but the quicker I go, the straighter it could be. It also depends on the pen itself. So like if I use a more rounder pen, you can kind of see it better than one that has jagged edges. Like this one has more jagged edges to it, but I kind of love this pen because I can go from thin to thick without issues. So some of it could be that. Some of it could be you have maybe too much scratch marks on your screen protector in case you're using a screen. If you're using a tablet that just connects into a computer, but you have to literally look up at the screen while your hand does all the work and then it starts drawing that magical piece, right? It could just be that practice of moving my hand versus like hand-eye coordination. It could be part of that. Some art programs have stabilizers that help you try to keep them straight. It's things like that. A lot of it comes with practice. I use a glove. I use a black glove to help me reduce friction so that I can quickly just move across without slowing down. So that's another way. And a big piece of advice is don't do what I do, where I keep like zooming in. Like don't just keep zooming in a lot, because then you get frustrated with yourself. Definitely try to do things a little bit more on a wide view until you have to clean it up. So that's definitely for that. Shading. There's a lot to talk about with shading. Sometimes I just kind of just put them wherever I feel like, to be honest. Just because if it's not for anyone else and it's just for me, and I just want it to look cool, I just kind of put the shades where I want, or the shadows where I want. But I've started doing different levels of shadow. So like and same thing with light. So if I take this off, this is with coloring. I've moved a little bit different now. So this is my quote-unquote flats, right? So if you're here earlier, you saw me kind of picking out all the flats, or the flat colors. Let me kind of pop that back to where it was. There we go. And from my flat layers, I actually don't keep them all super flat, minus the head and stuff, but you'll notice like in this leg, there's a gradient. So I went from like a light yellow to like a darker yellow of sorts. Same thing with like the blades of grass coming off his leg. And then when I decide to do, I decide to put texture colors over it so that when I put shadow, when I put light, things become a little bit more poppy, they pop out more. But if let's say I don't have the texture, right? With my shadows, I'm putting them wherever essentially like some of the lines meet or wherever they build up from wherever the light source is. So like for instance, if I pretend that, and I know this is a light source, but let's say just based on where the shadows are right now, like on this arm, the light source is coming from up top. So I'm usually leaving a big opening on certain areas for where the light's gonna hit, right? And then on the outside of that, so this is all in my head, I'm seeing this is where the light's hitting. On the outside of that, that's where I'm putting my shadows. Like they'll be deeper where the more lines build up. So like there's more lines here, so it'll build up over here a little bit more. And I like to just give them all a shape. So I'll put my shadows in shapes. So again, thinking it three-dimensional, this is where my lights are, right? This is where my darks are. And that's just like first level shadows, okay? Because in real life, there's multiple levels to shadows and what cast a shadow on you. And so that's where I get to this next level of shadows to make it darker. And then, of course, you already know, I told you about that light area, so I add the light to this. And then there might even be a soft light that shows up, like an extra light, and like ambient lights and reflected lights. There's a bunch of different things that you got to think about when it comes to shadows and lights. But yeah, absolutely. And you can kind of see, like, this looks okay-ish, but then I add the texture, and it's like, okay, that makes the difference. So that's my advice. My advice would be, if it's just for you, right, and you're practicing, just practice by breaking apart some of the lines that you want. So, like, this is supposed to be like foreshortening, essentially. So I'll go ahead and say this part's going to be in shadow. Like, I might just take a chunk. I'll put a chunk over here, keep them around the same side, and I might put one on the opposite side so that I know light's going right down here. And just kind of mess around with it. I've been using a blur tool to kind of spread out the shadows to soften them up. But if you do like a more anime style, more traditional style, then you'll keep it all hard for the most part. Let's see. I wish I could help. I'm just traditional. Traditional does translate, though. It does. It's just a little different. You said that you use Procreate. Yep. Procreate will definitely straighten out lines. Some programs, if you hold the Shift button, like on here, I can hold the Shift button and I can make a straight line wherever I want. It'll just do it like that too. Or ruler tools, that helps. You want to find a spot where your light would come from to help adjust. Yep, absolutely. Thanks, guys. I've been using Procreate, so I'll test these tips. Yeah, absolutely. Procreate's fun to be able to drop it in. And, of course, play around with those blending modes. If you look at mine, I normally use like a multiply layer for my shadows. I'll drop my first one down to 80% and then leave the other one at 100. So it's kind of how I play around with these guys on here. And then I'll have like a glow layer, or I'll have a soft light layer or something. You've also been drawing on your... Yeah, iPad's cool. I don't do a lot of iPad work. I'll do it whenever I'm on out school with this student. But other than that, it's the only time I ever like pull it out. Let's see. And then sometimes it's trial and error. Sometimes you want to put it in a spot that feels right, which I think usually helps. Like, as an artist, if it feels right, then it should be right. Quote unquote, should be right. Let's see. What do I need? Maybe another shadow over here, just to build a little bit more depth and contrast. There we go. And then I know I didn't put a light over here, but we'll put one. Should I get the thing I forget? Should I get the thing I forget the name that's connects to the computer to draw, like a tablet, like drawing tablet? Yeah, like so the one I've got, I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me move it this way. Maybe you've seen it in a different video, but this one right here is my my drawing tablet. It's a graphic like screen display, right? For me, that's the one that I use personally. Yeah, I like it because it's not that disconnect between like a regular tablet that has no screen on it. So like I don't have to, again, draw while I'm looking up at my computer to see what I'm doing, because this is more like paper, right? You draw, you get to see what you're drawing. So I think it's important to be able to see it. But yeah, definitely draw along. Draw something with us. Draw something with me. It'll be fun. It'll be cool. Like, I know I'm on for another, what, 20 minutes or so, give or take? Give or take. But I've been having fun. It's been a good day. Hasn't been bad. I'm going to put some just airbrush shadows on this one. And I'll light it up after. But I'll still blur this. Yeah, and there's other artists on here, like, that I follow that use Procreate. One of them is like Dempsey J. He does an incredible job using Procreate on his iPad to draw. Makes some fantastic artwork and does some stories. His YouTube channel is Dempsey J Illustrations. I put him on one of my videos at one point. That I got inspired by him to make. So it was like a Pal World Pals as Venomized SCPs. So I definitely recommend him if you like some Procreate stuff. There's other Procreate artists on YouTube as well. Kasem does really good work, and there's some other ladies as well. I think Giovanni something or other. She does some Procreate stuff on here. Maybe a personal thing, but if I use digital, I love to add layers for highlights, even if they can be super better. Oh yeah, no, I definitely, look, I use highlight layers all the time. You see me using it now. Without these two highlight layers, this thing's kind of dead in the water, I think. So yeah, and you might not know this, or maybe you do. There's an HSL setting. So essentially it's just your hue, saturation, luminosity levels, and you can change them at the very end or whenever. But I don't normally do it, but when I remember to do it, I do shift it on so that I can alter. So like, for instance, if I were to do it to this picture right now, this is my HSL, so I could change my hue, so I could change the colors of everything that's currently here. So I can turn them green, blue, right, whatever. I can kind of mess around with these. I can mess around with how much color actually pops. So I can just kind of shift my saturation level to make them extra poppy, right? And then luminosity is just like how dark or how light it is. So like how black or how like white it is. But you can kind of play around with those levels, those settings, to help you make your artwork pop to that next level. So something to mess around with. I know you can do it in Autodesk Sketchbook, regular Sketchbook. I know you can do it in Procreate. You can do it in Krita. I think you should be able to do it in like Medibang. I haven't used it in a while, but you should be able to use it there too. Yeah. Yeah, those could take your art to like make them a little bit more alive too. Let's see. Let's see. Kind of digging it, kind of digging it. Said have a good dinner? Is it about dinner time? Let's see, I must have missed something. Oh, you're going to dinner now, so you got to go. Hey, no worries. You have a good night? Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I hope I finished it too. If I don't finish it here, I'll definitely finish it at a later point and post it onto the community for sure. Absolutely. All right. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys stopping by. Absolutely. Let's see, we'll put some light over here. See, do that. Add some shadows back to these plants. I think we're coming near the end of this guy. I think we're almost done with him, which I'm super excited about. Just remember to test. What? Oh, it's so not cool. Who does that after spring break? If you're a teacher giving a test after spring break, you're really upset with life, I think. This is coming from a teacher, so just saying. Add some of this on here. Got about 15 minutes or so. I didn't add in the some of the other stuff I thought I was gonna add. Well, that's okay. I still got time to finish this dude. Off camera. I'm going to keep going until about 4, give or take. About 4 o'clock. Because I'll have to take care of Apollo over here. Roman Empire. You'll be fine. Hey, sweet. You go, kid. That's exciting news. That's awesome. Yeah, self-study's definitely not my thing growing up. Neither was reading. neither was a lot of stuff. I did enjoy math. Math was good. Math was my friend. Let's see. Soft. There we go. It's looking really good. I know the fire's going to be on this side of his body, so I might as well just kind of do a little pass. The math is not your friend. Hey, but a B average is still super stellar. A's and B's, kid. That's awesome. You might not be satisfied, I get it, but I'm happy for you. I did realize I forgot the yellow highlights on these guys. I guess is what happens when you move around and you start worrying about the entire the entire like flame piece. Let's see. I'm liking it. I never put in the metal though. Science, let's go. I would have failed that too. think math was my only subject as a kid in elementary and middle school that I was good at. I didn't get good at science until 11th grade. I had a really good teacher. Alright, we are going to handle this flame at some point. Oh, man. Let's see. Just gonna erase parts of this. There we go. Alright, we need to make this happen. I'm like determined. I don't know why I couldn't figure this one out. I do want to make sure that I remember. What is this? I don't even know what this layer is. I have it there though. Let's see, those are my lines. Gotcha. That's the flame. That's the flame copy. And this is nothing. Okay, I was trying to figure it out. I have an extra layer in here and it's not serving a purpose. Alright, cool. Let's figure out this power. Oh yeah, the best, the world's greatest elementary teacher, 5th grade science. Man, what was that teacher's name again? I'm gonna have to remember this one. Someone's gotta fill it out there for the world to know. Man, I'm old, can't remember. Oh man, that's good, that's good. I'm glad I can make someone enjoy science. That one's a hard one. When I taught math in middle school, I loved math, but you just can't make kids love math. Let's see. If I start to move the flame this way, something like this, because I need it to move this way. So let's say this is the flow. Definitely cried during physics? Oh no. No. What was physics? I think it was just force and motion in 5th grade. Although right now they're changing the science standards for next year. So there's no El Nino La Nina coming up for next year's 5th graders. Weather's definitely not one that was easy for the kids this year. I could tell you that. They struggled a little bit with the weather this year. But I think we always struggle with weather every year. Let's grab a sketch pencil. Let's see what we can do here. Let me shut off the color. Let me shut off the lines. This was my original sketch, right? So, what could we do? I want this fire to help it show the movement where the flame is traveling, which would land with where this leg is. Yeah, El Nino La Nina is definitely out. Oh man, I don't know if you remember the Bill Nye Zorro impersonation, like parody. Sorry, I said impersonation. It was a parody. That one was one of my favorites. El Nino. But I think that I know that much is out of weather. I don't know what else is going to be out, or what else they're going to give us. It'll be interesting to see. Excuse me. Drink some water here. Wrapped around, right? Yeah. I think that might be a little bit more interesting, right? So let's see what that would look like if we were to wrap this around. So let's say it starts here at the arm, because then I'd have to move some of the flame, some of the highlights, which is not a big deal. It's all in the same layer, which is why I separate them. So if you separate your layers, you don't have to worry about it. Maybe it'll do something like this. I don't know. Because I don't know. He's literally jumping or flying, which, don't ask me how he's flying. He's like a rock metal fire plant guy. I don't know. But I think you're right. I think something like this would be really cool. It's a really good idea. I'm trying not to cover the insignia, the Ben 10 insignia, so we won't block that guy off. And at least for the fire, it can go skinny and thick at random spots. Beauty of fire, right? It's not all one size, one shape. It's a good idea. It's a good suggestion. I think something like that might be the cool wraparound. Yeah, we're like really close to the end of it. And that's not the only thing. He looks really weird without the lines. It's kind of cool though. I'm not gonna lie. I actually kind of like him. Definitely better this way though. Definitely better this way. But yeah, didn't mean to turn on the color ahead of that. But I think that would be good. And then I did talk about putting out some like metal pieces. Let's see. Or like rocks or whatever, I don't know. Something. Where he could just be putting out like this magnetic pulse. And I think that would give a little extra like nod to, well, one, to Lodestar for his magnetism. But also give another point of interest. And maybe just maybe he's like flying off of one of these stones. So let me just put a thing over here. And I'm going to get your opinion on this. Because would it look weird that he's on a platform and there's fire? Have I watched? Oh my gosh, yes. Oh man, yes. They removed some. Oh, you didn't finish it. Oh, so you're not a fan? Okay, I got you. I will tell you, I loved it. I completely loved it. And the reason being was because one, it just brought a lot of my childhood back, and I was just so happy about it that they actually made them kind of come alive for me. Yes, Sokka may have been a little bit of a different character. Yes, they kind of stripped him of some of his comedicness, which I think makes him amazing. But I think as far as their casting went, I think they did a really good job. I'm happy that they have a season 2 and 3 renewal, so I'm excited about that. I am excited about that. And I've just binged all of the Avatar: The Last Airbender with my wife recently after finishing up the live action. So I was really happy to watch that. We're on Korra now. I wasn't a fan of Korra the first time I watched it. I'm starting to see why I didn't like her. I think it's her personality and how easy some of the stuff came to her. But I'm gonna break my mindset on it, and we're gonna see what happens there. Let's see. Wouldn't it go up? Like, oh, wouldn't the fire go up? The fire does look nice now? Okay. All right, cool. cool. Sorry. Yeah, the animated one's definitely great. Um, but yeah, definitely one of my favorites was Avatar. Um, and what's really cool is I ended up doing a art piece where I turned, or where I'm, well, technically it's done. It just won't release until the Tuesday after my birthday. So like this Friday coming up, the 15th is my birthday. So this week is Gods and Champions War Part 2. And the Tuesday after, I'm turning Avatar The Last Airbender characters into mythical beasts. So like fantasy beasts or fantasy creatures. Don't know what the working title is, but I'm doing that. And I'm excited about that. I actually finished drawing them, and Aang is the one that I drew that I feel like came out the absolute best. Yes. Galahad, what did you miss? Well, this you didn't miss a lot, right? Don't let QWERTY over here tell you otherwise. So this is, oh, sorry. This is the piece that I've got currently. So I finished rendering him. The problem is we were coming up to back to that original issue I had was the flame. And so what I was thinking is, and what we were thinking together, because I will tell you, QWERTY came up with some really good ideas here. We came up with the fact that the fire, wrong sketch layer, the fire should probably be spiraling, like kind of wrapping around, right? And I think we may have talked about that too, Galahound. I can't remember. But we're going to have it spiral around, coming downward. And then I know I mentioned having pieces of metal or rocks that were being magnetized by that tuning fork. So they'll be like kind of floating around, maybe shaking a little bit. And maybe he's levitating off one of them or about to jump off one of them. Not entirely sure. I can say your name? All right. Sophia. I'll say your name. Sorry, I try to protect as much as I can. But yes, Sophia. I got you. I won't forget you. But yeah. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. And that one might be an entirely different stream all its own, is to finish off the rest of it. But just real quick, Galahound, we were working really diligently on this Anime Avengers list while you were out as well. And so far, I've got Monkey D. Luffy, I've got Goku, Saitama, Gojo, Kaneki, and if I could remember for the life of me that character that I was obsessed with from Gurren Lagann, I'm gonna add him. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. Kamina, there we go. I don't know why I just remembered him now. I'm adding Kamina to the list. From Gurren Lagann. If you haven't seen Gurren Lagann, watch it. Spoiler alert. My character doesn't survive, but he's still the coolest character out there. That's all I'm saying. I think it was better than the main character. Now you'll have to watch and tell me if I'm right or not. So there you go. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we'll end up doing a second stream at some point. I'm gonna keep that somewhere else. There we go. And I will wrap up the entire background for this piece. We'll definitely do that. But yeah, but for right now, I think he came out looking pretty dope. Again, that fire, I wish I really thought that one through on the sketch layer, but that's kind of what I put down. So I guess I got no choice but to kind of deal with it. So yeah, guys, I appreciate you spending your Saturdays with me. Add it to the super long watch list. Absolutely. You should see my queue. My queue on Crunchyroll is just ginormous. I haven't touched it all. But I appreciate you guys spending your Saturday with me. That's going to be the end of today's stream. I will definitely finish this up in another stream at a later point in time. That one will probably be a little bit of a shorter stream because we've only got the fire, maybe rocky elements, but I'll have fun chatting with y'all then. So y'all take care of yourself. Have a good one. Bye, guys.